I'm ready. All right. Whew.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Kate.
And I'm Isaiah. You messed me up on my start. I was about to start and you kicked in here.
At least I didn't just say lean in and go, hey, Isaiah, start. Isaiah, you got to start the show now.
No.
That's, you wait for public experiences.
Yes.
To do that.
That's exactly what I do.
Yeah, so I almost said I'm Isaiah.
Are you Isaiah?
I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
I derailed this episode. So today, before we get started on today's topic, do you have anything you want to share with everyone?
Well, we didn't even say what topic were we talking about.
Oh, do you talk about? We do that first. Okay.
See,
so we're
okay. You don't even know how to start our show.
Okay. Let me try again. Welcome to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Kate.
And I'm Isaiah.
And on today's episode, we're actually going to be talking about bullying.
Yeah. Bullying.
Yeah, bullies. They're the best. And, our own personal experiences with it and, some perceptions and what the difference between like a good-natured ribbing and full-on bullying is as children, as adults, and the effects of that through life. But before we get started, tell me what's going on. What's the haps? That's your line, right?
Yeah. What's new? What's the haps?
What's new? What's the haps, Isaiah?
We are in the second week of June. Hopefully the weather has been nice at this point. Otherwise I'm probably gonna be pretty sad, not gonna lie. I really need nice weather.
Yeah.
I need nice sunny days. Especially because my summer programming is about to start, and there's some outdoor stuff that if it's not sunny, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So let's hope for sunny days through all of July and August and into September.
I mean, some rain because we'd like to not have drought.
Okay.
We don't want the wells to dry up.
I guess.
Water's kind of important, but like a good balance of weather would be nice.
It can rain on Sundays and Mondays, which are my days off.
Yeah, could we not ask for rain on the weekends though? Like,
yeah,
just because you have Sundays.
They cannot. It doesn't need to rain on Fridays or Saturdays.
Okay, whatever. So that's what's going on with you. Is you praying for no rain? What's
going on with you? You got you still got some show. You just finished like a week-long thing of stuff, and now you got some shows coming up.
Got some more shows coming up.
We got
where are we
Saturday?
now?
This is the 11th, so the next one's Saturday on the 14th.
Yeah, you've got a good memory, Isaiah. Yeah, I'm performing at the Comic Suture in Fredericton on the 14th, opening for John Forward with Parker McFadden. And his show is called Algorithm and Blues.
Ooh, anything after that lined up yet? Or you?
Yeah, I've got a show coming up in Edmundston early in July, and then I of course am performing on the awesome comedy festival in Campbellton in September, which I'm super excited about.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And not Edmundston, not Edmonton.
Edmundston,
not
in the northwestern part of the province of New Brunswick.
You're not flying to the West Coast to do comedy yet?
No, not yet.
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet. Doing a road trip to Ontario to visit family, but no, not doing
it. You should look for an open mic there.
I was thinking about it, but I also want to make sure I have ample time to spend with family and stay a little bit fluid that way. But
I guess whatever.
But
just trying to make you a superstar over here. But
yeah, I know. So today we're going to talk about bullying, and this topic, like all of them, was my idea.
Yep.
And it was kind of born out of the last episode, and then the time of year. It's coming up on the end of June, which is the end of the school year when you're in that world, and it kind of become a bit of a period of reflection for me personally. And so in our last episode, we were talking about how we were bickering at the bar after the beer run and stuff like that. And Isaiah and I will give each other a real hard time. It happens on this podcast all the time. But it is all in good fun, and we absolutely adore each other. At least I absolutely adore Isaiah. I don't want to speak for him.
It's questionable.
Well, and I know that there's nothing that Isaiah says that he really means mostly. And And I much the same. Like I have so much reverence for him as a person, and and with that, we have a kind of relationship where we can poke fun at each other, and he can say things like, I think I'm the star of every show I'm on, and I can say things like, don't mansplain to me while we're on a microphone. But bullying is an incredibly toxic and awful thing to have happen, and it is certainly something that happened to me early in life. And I've been thinking about that. I think about this every so often. Like at the beer run, I actually ran into a guy that I graduated from high school with. And there's a part of me every time I see somebody in that I automatically flash back to the like 16-year-old version of myself where I'm like, I'm such a loser. Nobody likes me. Like, let me hide. And for good reason. Like, things were not great. Before we get too deeply into just me talking, how about you? Have you had many experiences with bullying, Isaiah?
I mean, so my bullying that I've experienced is mostly keyboard warriors. Keyboard warriors are like the ones that are always the worst because and we kind of talked about this before we got on actually started talking about this topic, which is that, with social media, people can be very anonymous online, and they feel a lot more strong to give their opinions when not needed.
Right.
And that's kind of where I've experienced most of it is online, and people just being jerks online. In my like day-to-day living, like, I mean, a little bit in middle school, but in high school, I hung out with everyone. I was just really nice to everyone. So I didn't experience as much bullying as I know like you have or other people have in high school.
And the truth is, there's something that I'm gonna capitalize on what you said. You were nice to everyone. I was also nice to everyone.
Yeah,
it had nothing. My bullying actually had very little to do with my behavior. I don't think. I'm pretty sure. I'm a pretty self-aware person. I know when I'm shitty.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess I was a jock in high school, right? Like I played sports, and then I was in musicals, so I was on both sides of that fence, I guess.
As was I. There's all these things that it's almost becomes inexplicable why somebody ends up being the person. I was actually, before I came here to record, I was talking about this with my mom, and we were talking about being bullied, and she was sharing a bit of her experience, which she and I have talked about this before, but she was at a parent teacher of mine in grade 9, and in grade 9 was absolutely the worst year of my life. And I was just absolutely being terrorized. And one thing, I never told anybody, never told the teacher, never told the guidance counselor, never told my mom, never told a soul, because I was so scared that if I started like tattletaling or ratting people out, that it would get significantly worse for me. And it was bad. Like, I'll give you a couple of examples. Like, I used to regularly get shoved into lockers, and there was a lot of open stairwells where if you're walking up, people could lean over an edge, and I'd get spit at over that. And then people would try to trip me in the hall, and they'd just yell mean things to me. And then that was the easy stuff to deal with. The harder stuff to deal with was one time, like in grade 9, they shoved like garbage all on the inside of the door of my locker. So it attracted fruit flies, and then wrote in Sharpie on my locker, why don't you clean up your locker, dirtbag? P.S. Your fat ass is hanging out of your skirt, bitch. And
Crazy.
And I was dressed in a skirt. I was kind of a tomboy, and I was dressed in a skirt only because I had a soccer game that day. And I retrospectively, I'm sure it looked fine, but that's just left for me on my locker to go see. And I was just like, oh my God. And so mom was telling me today that she like went into a parent teacher, and the teacher, it dawned on my mom while they're in the conversation, because I had like missed a bunch of school that year. And the teacher was like, my mom realized, she was like, Caitlin doesn't miss school. Like, that's just not her. And she started to cry. The teacher started to cry. And the teacher's like, she's never complained. I can't do anything about it. And they're just, so she's told me that as an adult, but I didn't know that happened at the time. So my experience was very, very bad at school. Every day at school was a disaster. Like 2 weeks before grade 9 started, I had made a few friends in grade 8. 2 weeks before grade 9 started, a more popular girl came up to them and said, if you stop hanging out with Caitlin Dean, you can hang out with us when we go into grade 9. So I entered high school. First time grade 9s were in high school. First day of school, huge high school. Not a soul was my friend. And it was horrendous. So in saying all of that, had a pretty negative experience. I still did stuff. I played on the school soccer team. I was involved in drama. I played in bands. I sang in choirs. I joined committees. I joined clubs because I had this need to be around people. But even if they weren't my friends, I was like kind of almost, and also I like to do these things, and it was kind of keeping me part of the fold. Yeah. And the other saving grace for me personally is that I could go home to a very happy household.
Yep.
Where it was safe.
Right.
And I could get an escape for a little while, and I'd have some respite from the terror, and I don't want to sound over dramatic, I recognize that I sound a little bit dramatic in that, but the more I think about it, the more I look back on it with because I used to kind of pass it off like, oh, well, everybody gets bullied, and everybody does get bullied to a certain degree. Like everybody gets picked on, but that level of terror they're coming to see more and more, it really has a profound impact on people. And it had a profound impact on me. What I didn't have to deal with between 1998 and 2001 was social media.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's social media has made a huge, again, going back to keyboard warriors, you become anonymous, and people feel they can do things that they not necessarily would have done otherwise, when they feel like they don't have to worry about who they are.
100%. I guarantee that if the bullying had carried on after school through my phone, or my computer or whatever, there is not a chance I would have survived grade 9.
Yeah.
I nearly didn't as it was.
Yeah. And it's, I think bullying is such a terrible thing that happens, and there's a lot of times no rhyme or reason to who gets chosen to be bullied.
No.
And I think sometimes it's bullies are using that as an outlet because of something they're experienced typically at home too, right?
Right. There's all kinds of reasons. And I actually don't hold fault to the people who were doing it, because one, it's a mob mentality sort of thing. And there's many people that I have great relationships with who may have picked on me a little bit. And we were all kids. I don't hold what somebody did at 14.
Yeah.
Over their heads or anything. I don't have I certainly don't have a list. I'm not, and I don't really think about high school that much. I'm mostly a positive, I'm 42 now. I mostly have moved on, I've largely moved on, but I think about this every so often because I think about the ramifications for other children and what people can do today, what parents can do, what educators can do to keep people safe. And because the bullying doesn't stop. And I used to think that bullying would end when you became an adult, because adults are way more mature.
No.
But it's not true. We develop better coping mechanisms, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think we typically, when we get older, find our niche group of people who keep us grounded, keep us centered, right? And
let us vent and I talked about this on the podcast. I get some random stranger bullying sometimes just for being overweight. I think I mentioned this on the podcast about the guy who screamed out his window at me the other day, move faster, you fat slut, while I was walking across the road. That was a lot. It didn't really bother me, but just the same, that's the thing that somebody yelled out their vehicle to me as a full grown adult.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I feel like it's gotten worse in the last couple of years. It's just people feeling more emboldened to be assholes, really.
Yeah, do whatever, say whatever, like, and kind of go for the jugular too.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, part of it, I you don't want to blame everything on the pandemic, but when you shut people out and shut people down completely desocialize people for, a few months and then in and out of lockdowns and stuff for a couple of years, well, that's going to have some ramifications on behavior. That's going to speed up some of what was already starting to happen with what was going on online. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, social media has our algorithms keep us so locked into our own little bubble that we don't if we don't work on trying to see what else is happening, that you can get really lost in that kind of world where you can start shutting family and friends out because everyone else agrees with me. Why don't you agree with me?
Right. And on whatever side of the equation you're on, it has nothing to do with what opinions you have. If you start like getting so emboldened to be angry about whatever issue you're passionate about, that you can't even tolerate your own family anymore, that's really a hard road to hoe. Like,
yeah. And it's just it does definitely have to do with it that we get into these our own little sounding boards, and the same thing happens when you're in high school, right? You get into your own little groups of people, and that's your group of people. And if Jimmy is gonna make fun of Jane, well then I want to be cool with Jimmy. I'm gonna make fun of Jane as well.
Right, exactly. And then and then you don't. And kids aren't thinking of. Kids are just trying to fit in. They're just doing their best to fit in, like be like everyone else. And so if everybody else is picking on, what was the name? Jane. Poor Jane. Then I understand that. Like I don't, but I don't even. I wish I had solutions too for like. And I think the best case is like keeping things open and hoping everybody, at least that online world, may be a double-edged sword in a positive way too. Maybe it'll help other people find their people. If they don't necessarily have to be in their high school, they could be online somewhere. They could be in Japan or whatever. They can have somebody to vent to and be a good friend, because man, I don't know what I'd do in my life without my friends.
Right. Yeah, same. I mean, I think that online is, like you said, that double-edged sword where you can find your people. Like I know people, I have friends that I've never met in my entire life, but I play video games with them. I know them through Discord, and like I know what their schedule looks like what they're doing in the next couple days and stuff like that. And we talk about just real world stuff, but online we talk 100%. Online. So there is that other aspect of it. I don't know. I think part of it is the outlets that are available are becoming fewer and fewer. Like as far as there's a lot of outlets that are available, but like at the same time, things like arts and music and stuff in schools and stuff like that it's kind of becoming limited because teachers don't have the availability because there's not enough funding and things like that too, right?
Yeah, it is those extracurriculars that is certainly abundantly important in my life.
Yeah,
like this is it gets this a bit dark, and trigger warning for anybody out there who's dealt with suicide or anything like that. But there was one time I was very close, and there were 3 reasons I didn't do it at 14, not recently. And one was I didn't want my mom to find me. I didn't think that would be very fair, and she would never forgive herself, and it wouldn't have been her fault. 2, I had a band concert the upcoming Tuesday, and I didn't want to let the team down. And 3, I felt so bad about myself that I felt like I didn't deserve the release. I felt like I deserved to feel like shit.
Wow.
Pretty intense, eh?
Yeah, very intense.
Or just funny, silly girl.
But I think that those extracurriculars of being available are a huge thing. Like even just things like being able to go somewhere. Like I see it at the Y often is just kids that just come to hang out, just to be out of the way from home or just have a space to be.
Right.
So
that's a whole other element is there are home lives that are not good. Yeah. So if you're facing it at school and facing it at home, that's a lot to squeeze.
Mm-hmm. And it becomes, you need third spaces are very important in that aspect, right?
Yeah.
In general, for society, people should have like those third spaces, and those spaces are coming fewer and far between as well. It's very unfortunate.
But at any rate, if you have any experiences with bullying or any advice to any parents out there or any educators, please leave them in the comments. Reach out to us. Like, this is a topic that's super important to me because if I could, I don't know, let one kid know that things will work out. You will find your people. You will find your people. Life won't always be easy.
Yeah.
There are trials and tribulations and troubles, and you may deal with your trauma in different ways. I certainly ate a lot of mine when I was young. But you will find your people and it will be okay. It won't be perfect.
Yeah. And I'll make sure, like during this entire episode, we have the helpline at the very bottom.
Yeah,
the entire
kids helpline. Kids helpline. And like I don't know how many teenagers listen to this. But
we'll have any. There's more than just kids helpline.
Oh yeah, then there's 811 you can call.
So we'll have that down below the whole time, plus in the description for anyone that's needs someone to talk to for sure.
I think seeing my nephew going into grade 9 next year, and he's great, and he's got a good group of guy friends, and they're going to be just fine going to Harborview next year. I'm sure he's playing football and being.
My nephew's also going to Harborview next year.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh my god, maybe our nephews could be friends.
Oh my goodness, to bring it to a different note, yeah, maybe my friend, my middle school friend, one of my best friends in middle school, her daughter was going to my nephew's middle school and they became best friends.
Oh, is that Amy?
No, not Amy. Okay. Another person. But yeah, her daughter and my nephew became like really good friends in middle school. And I was like, that's hilarious.
That's hilarious. Oh man, that'd be great if they met in the wild. That'd be so funny.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just seeing him going into that grade, I'm just like, you'll be fine. But and you certainly don't want to pass your own trauma on to somebody else. Gosh, like, I'm not like, watch out for the bullies. Don't let the haters get you down. He's a great kid. But so was I. Like that's the thing. Like I really was an okay kid. So at any rate, yeah, we'll put those numbers there if you need any help. And like, don't hesitate to reach out to us either, or to me. I don't want to promise Isaiah, but it's everything we're here.
Yeah, for sure. Shit. We've been around the block once or twice.
And yeah.
But let's wrap this one up.
Please.
Where can people find us on the internet?
We're at Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook.
And I am at Maritime Brews.
Learn to talk much? See, that's bullying.
And at Tweak the Profit on some, if not all, the social medias. And of course, we do have the Buy Me a Coffee still going if you want to help donate to that. And if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to your podcast, if you can like, share, subscribe there. Or if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can jump on over to YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, if you can like, share, subscribe, comment over here, it goes a long way to pushing us out to other people. And we appreciate you all listening. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.